With a little over 2 weeks of baseball officially in the books, many people are panicking on slow starts for certain players. In this video, I'll be covering 7 names that have massively struggled while sharing how much I'm personally panicking about them. So let's start off with Marcus Semien of the Texas Rangers, who's gotten off to an extremely slow start, hitting just 122 with 1 homer through 13 games so far. Semien is coming off of a down year in 2024 that saw him take a sizable step back from 2023, causing many to be skeptical towards his outlook for this season. At the age of 34, it's fair to say that Semien is starting to hit an age-related decline that's evident in many of his underlying stats. While his plate discipline metrics remained stable from 2023 to 2024, it was noticeable that his quality of contact took a step back. However, early on in this season, it seems as though Semien's plate discipline has also declined. He's chasing and whiffing at pitches more often, his strikeout rate has risen a fair amount, while his walk rate has also decreased. Nothing in his profile at the moment signals that he's anywhere close to turning things around, and it may actually just get worse. I think that the bottom has finally fallen out for Semien, and I'd truly be surprised if that wasn't the case. He's firmly sitting at a 9 on the panic meter for me. Next up is Vientos of the New York Mets, who just has 5 hits and no homers to go along with only 1 RBI early on. Vientos is coming off of a mini breakout season that saw him bash 27 homers and post a .266 average in just 111 games. He was certainly a polarizing player entering drafts this year, as many were either completely in or completely out on him. What you can count on moving forward for Vientos is home runs and RBIs, but outside of those two, I just don't think Vientos will be offering much else. I believe that his .266 average from last season is a mirage, and I expect him to be closer to .240 hitter moving forward. He just doesn't hit the ball particularly hard enough or possess a plate discipline metrics needed to be a consistent .260 plus hitter. By season's end, a realistic outlook for Vientos is 25 to 30 homers, around 85 RBIs, with an average hovering around .240. Those numbers to me don't justify a top 100 pick, which is where he was going in drafts, and I'd certainly be panicking if you have any shares. On the panic meter, Vientos is also sitting at a strong 9 at the moment. This takes us now to Luis Robert Jr. of the Chicago White Sox, who once again is looking like a shell of his former self. He also is just hitting 154 with no homers and a single RBI, and he simply looks like a player who has given up on his team. We all know the kind of talent that Robert possesses when things are working for him, as after all, just 2 years ago, Robert had 38 homers and 20 stolen bases and was looking like a future first rounder in drafts. However, after dealing with some injuries and prolonged slumps, Robert has completely fallen off, causing many to doubt his ability. The one major area of concern for Robert is his plate discipline, as he's below average in terms of pitch recognition and recovery. He swings at way too many pitches off of the plate and also whiffs through too many in the strike zone. It's fair to wonder that even if Robert does figure out the power aspect of his game, will the average ever be helpful again? The only way I see Robert being a difference maker is if he gets moved at the deadline, but if he does become very interesting once again. Robert is at 8 out of 10 on the panic meter. Now it's time to talk about Tristan Casas of the Boston Red Sox, who many were high on entering the 2025 campaign. Hitting just a .170 with 1 homer and 15 strikeouts in 47 at-bats, Casas looks completely lost at the plate. Similar to Luis Robert, Casas is also 2 years removed from his breakout season that included 24 homers and a .263 batting average with plenty of counting stats. Unfortunately for Casas, almost everything in his profile has gone downhill, as he's too struggling in terms of the plate discipline aspect of his game. The strikeouts have absolutely exploded for him, and it's nearly impossible to hit for a strong average when the strikeout rate is as high as it is. His average exit velocity sits at just 87.6, which is well below his career average, and he's only taken a couple walks to begin the year, which is normally one of the stronger parts of his game. It's important to remember that Casas is still only 25 years old and has plenty of time to make adjustments, but things are simply not looking good at the moment. He's also an 8 on the panic meter for me. Moving on to the first and only starting pitcher on the list, I'm talking about Bryce Miller of the Seattle Mariners. Miller had an unbelievable season last year that saw him post an ERA below 3 with one of the league's best whips while handling a strong workload with 180 innings. Miller looked well on his way to being even better in 2025, but his first 2 starts have been anything but. In 2 softer matchups against the Athletics and at San Francisco, Miller was really underwhelming in both and now carries a 5.73 ERA and a 1.64 whip through 11 innings. To be completely honest, I'm not worried about Miller at all. The velocity still remains the same as previous years, and his stuff still looks really strong. I think he's just trying to find his control, as his walk rate has been up, which is not what I'm expecting going forward for one of the league's most premier control arms. Pitching in one of the league's most pitcher-friendly parks, I think that Miller has another strong season, even if he doesn't improve on last year's strong campaign. He's just a 2 out of 10 on the panic meter. If you've enjoyed the video thus far, drop a like and hit that subscribe button, as it really helps with the channel and allows me to continue making content just like this, which I will have constantly throughout the MLB season. Next up is a player that might be struggling more than any other name on this list, and that's Willson Contreras of the St. Louis Cardinals. Many thought that permanently transitioning from catcher would help his offensive production, but up to this point, it's been the complete opposite. Contreras is barely hitting above 100 and has yet to hit a homer and has a staggering 22 strikeouts and 49 at-bats. To say that Contreras has struggled would be a massive understatement, as he's been arguably the worst hitter in the sport through the first couple weeks of the season. The difference between Contreras, though, and many others on this list is his track record. Contreras has been such a steady producer for many years now, and you have to think that this is simply just a really bad slump that will fade away soon. He's 32 years old, so he could be on the decline, but I just can't buy into the fact that it would happen this fast. If anyone in your league is selling Contreras, I'd be looking to buy, as I truly think that he's still a top 5 catcher in fantasy, and one that will figure it out. Contreras is only a 4 out of 10 on the panic meter for me. And lastly, the final player on the panic list that I'll be covering is Dylan Cruz of the Washington Nationals. If you're wondering how bad Cruz has struggled in the early going, let me just say that it took him 20 at-bats before registering his first hit. He's now sitting at just 5 for 39 on the season, has no homers or RBIs. Cruz got a brief taste of the majors last year, and while he was underwhelming, you got a sense of the raw skills that he has. This is a player capable of providing both solid power and speed, while being able to make enough contact to hit for a steady average. While that hasn't been evident early on in 2025, I wouldn't be giving up on Cruz just yet. Sometimes it takes young players a bit of time to adjust to the highest level, and I think that's exactly what's happening here. While nothing is certain, Cruz in my opinion has the potential to reach 15 to 20 homers and 30 plus steals the rest of the way. He's yet another prime buy low candidate as long as you can get him for fairly cheap. I'd put Cruz at a 5 out of 10 on the panic meter. And with that being said, that concludes the 7 players that are massively struggling and whether or not you should panic on them. Let me know in the comments who you are panicking on. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next one.